Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. And here we are, dressed up as characters. Rowan being Severus, and
Happy
me,
Halloween,
yes, and
everyone.
me. I don't know what I'm wearing, but hey, let's just get on with it and start with Halloween. And yeah, man, best place to
Happy
start.
Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween. The devil runs this day, it seems. And yeah, man, the origins. Where did it start? So, Rowan, do you know when it started?
I believe I've got the date 1834. That's where it was first Americanized. I'm not
Yeah,
100%
yeah,
sure if that's the correct date, but I know it was a Celtic tradition
yeah. It
where
was
they
a bit.
believed that their day or year started on November 1st. And the idea of it, the premise was that on this day, evil wandered and there were scary creatures such as ghosts and ghouls and leprechauns, evil leprechauns, out to get ordinary people, people who had done badly. And to avoid punishment, people used to dress up, they used to disguise themselves as these beings so that they wouldn't get caught and they wouldn't get punished. And it became Americanized soon after when it got brought over. And it was called the Eve of, I forgot what it's called now.
Or Hallows Eve. Is that it?
Yeah, Hallows Eve. Hallows Eve. And then soon after it became Halloween, it became a tradition. And the Americans added things like trick or treat and stuff into it. But it's originally a Celtic tradition, it's not an American tradition. Um, so yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. You gotta know your history on this. Many people celebrate these traditions but don't know where it originally came from. And like nowadays you have, trick or treating. Like me personally, obviously, as a kid, we've all done it really. We went over to people's houses and get sweets off them, but when you get older, it's like, nah, man, this it ain't for me anymore. But yeah, you even have
No.
what do you call them? Jack-o'-lanterns. Is it when they put pumpkins on the houses?
Yeah. And set
Yeah.
them on fire. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, a long time ago when the tradition first started, they used to burn fires as well to ward off the beings, the ghouls. So fire was a much bigger part of Halloween than it is now. Um, it's only represented through jack-o'-lanterns now, but it was once upon a time like a massive part of the tradition to have fires burning.
Yeah. It's to celebrate the dead for sure. The dead
Yeah.
returning alive. That's why you'll have the skeleton appear. Like, are there any like good Halloween movies? I mean, that you've seen recently or have popped up in the mainstream?
There's the new Halloween, the actual film called Halloween, with Mike Myers. That came out this weekend, I think.
Yeah.
That always seems to occur. I don't see one thing I've always wondered is why is he called Mike Myers? And then there's obviously the actor called Mike Myers.
Yeah. Great
I
actor.
don't know if there's a link there. He's a great actor, but I've always wondered if there's a link between those two, between the name and the character Mike Myers. It's a bit strange.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But you never know. Possibly, but until you can see a link, you're just making assumptions at the end. But yeah, like
Yeah.
yesterday I was just seeing Halloween shows and aliens and monsters and corpses, skeletons rising from the dead. No, it's a bit of a strange celebration, Halloween. You really don't really want to celebrate the dead, but that's what people do, man. It's more of a kids thing than an adult thing now, but can
Yeah,
still be
I
fun.
think the main premise of it as well in Celtic tradition is that it's a celebration of the way to get to the light is through the dark. So you almost have to have the dark to receive the light. So essentially, I was listening to a podcast about it, and it was talking about how the beginning isn't in the light, it's in the darkness. So everything starts from the darkness and it comes into the light.
Mm.
And that's essentially what the celebration of Halloween is. It's coming through and triumphing. Triumphing? Is
Yeah,
that a word?
triumph.
I'm
Triumph.
sure. Yeah. Being triumphant through the darkness and coming into the light and facing your fears head on, these manifestations of evil, and persevering and getting to the other end, and then receiving the blessings that are on the other end of that spectrum, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And to touch on your point on the light versus dark, I watched a podcast earlier where this woman made a point that kind of opened my eyes a bit. She said, like, when a baby's unborn, she's in the dark, and the baby's in the dark with on the mother's womb. It's fine, but when it comes out in the light, it starts crying. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. Maybe the actual light is a bit deceiving.
Well, yeah, you always hear things about that, don't you? In the dark is where we should be. Like when we die, we go to the afterlife, which is the darkness, also we're told. And there's always that idea of going towards the light when you're dying. A lot of people say go towards the light, and I don't know where that tradition stems from, but a lot of people in the esoteric realm believe that that is also, I've heard that is the way to be reincarnated. So if you go towards the light is, like, you've probably heard it before, but it's the reincarnation process. People say that potentially it could be the hospital waiting room or wherever you're getting birthed into the next life when you're following that light through. But potentially the darkness is where we want to be and where we originally come from. We don't come from light. As we know, the science shows as well that the universe is predominantly made up of dark matter, not light matter. We think that everything we see now is all that there is, but the main constitution of this reality is like dark matter and things that we can't actually perceive with our eyes, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like the darkness holds up this reality, and then the light is able to grow from that.
Yeah. It's that polarity, the dualistic nature that we live in. But in terms of tradition,
Yeah.
I think Halloween plays a big role in that dark v light spectrum. Yeah. And you see the devil in particular, people dressing up as the devil. A big sinner in the world stage, that character.
Yeah. It's interesting because you see all these like religious scholars and people talking about how Halloween's evil, and it's a time of sacrifice, and there's a lot of demonic possessions going on and things like that, which could be true, and it's a way to smite God, but I couldn't find any evidence to suggest that Halloween is a tradition born from evil, if that makes sense. Maybe there is evil manifesting on that particular day, and perhaps prior to the modern day there were creatures roaming the earth that would be considered evil and dark, like witches and things like that, which was more of the tradition back then. But I don't think that it was necessarily like an evil thing, because as we say, I think, like on this channel, like what is evil? Evil is perhaps a necessary part of reality, and if it didn't exist, then there wouldn't be any good to counteract it. And obviously, like there's a passage in the Bible where it talks about Jesus essentially having Satan on his back. And it's funny that I'm dressed like Severus Snape in relation to Harry Potter. You have the first episode of Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone with Professor
Dumbledore.
Wirral. No, Wirral. Is it Wirral? I think it's Wirral.
Yeah.
And he's the gentleman who has the Philosopher's Stone, but he has Voldemort attached to his back. Completely irrelevant, off topic, but what I'm trying to say is that Jesus and Satan are one in the same, and without each other wouldn't exist. They're the yin and yang, So perhaps we need to celebrate the darkness on some days, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So it's a tough one for people to accept, really, because we've been programmed. Yeah, this is going off topic, but we've been programmed that the light is the way forward. Is it really?
Mm.
You gotta consider that option if you want to, the best way in this life is to be neutral. So consider all possibilities and make a fair judgment and assessment on how you view life and celebrations like Halloween. Like, we're all dark here. I mean, yeah, there's light in our room, but we couldn't record in the pitch black, otherwise we'd be on the scene.
Or we could.
You wanna try
Yeah.
it?
Won't be able to see my costume then.
Oh yeah, and as for me, when I wouldn't be able to see myself if this room was pitch black. It'd be crazy.
Exactly. Very true. Yeah, it's like, I think people are like, especially religious people, are very scared and cautious to celebrate things like Halloween because they think, oh, it's about devil sacrifice and things like sacrificing for the devil and things like that. But on the other end of the spectrum, I think as long as you're in your right mind and you're not participating in sacrifice and things like that and demonic activities, per se, you're allowed to enjoy this sort of thing and perhaps see it as a chance to acknowledge the fact that there are evils in this world and that you can face them head on. I was listening to a podcast where it was talking about that. It was talking about how Halloween is somewhat of an old tradition as a way to remind us that we can face our fears head on and that we should move through like the egoic fear of whatever is preoccupying our mind, and we could use it as a time of reflection and be like, what fears am I not facing head on, and what could I do about it? It's like a good reminder. It's like a physical manifestation. It's almost a celebration for us to be like, yeah, we can dance with these evils and these terrifying things in our life and still prevail and have a good time. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I still think there's some very demonic connotations and things tied to it, but I don't think it's necessarily like strictly evil. And I think it's always about your personal perception. So you can choose to view the tradition in a certain way that is more beneficial to you. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. In the end, people have different views on this tradition that we call Halloween, but like especially when the devil's involved, we've been programmed that the devil's some boogeyman that's coming out to get you, but the reality, what was that?
I don't know. What were it?
I don't know. I thought I heard something. Maybe it was a ghost.
Joking.
Yeah.
I'm all right, guys.
Yeah. But I was gonna say about the devil character is supposedly some boogeyman that is coming out to get you, but that's just a depiction of the character himself. But yeah, man, kind of losing track of what I'm about to say, but yeah, it's just that programming of that devil character that it's evil, and is it really evil, the devil character? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, like I say, I think we all have the devil inside of us, somewhat.
Yeah.
And we should all try and face the fact that there is a monster within us. It's sort of, well, I mean, it's not, but it's sort of off topic. I went to watch Jordan Peterson a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how basically everyone has the proclivity to be really evil. He was saying, like, imagine if you were in Nazi Germany. Do you think you would have the capacity to do what the Nazis did in that particular scenario if you were in that position of being in the German army? And obviously a lot of people will be like, no, I'd never do that. But I think John Peterson made the point that a lot of people would. And So we all have the ability to act incredibly evil. And if you don't acknowledge that that evil is there, that shadow self, as I believe you would put it, then you can never emerge into the goodness of light because you don't understand that there is parallel conflicting energies. There is the yin and the yang. If you don't explore that darkness and you don't come to terms with it and make sure you regulate it, then it can overtake you. The shadow can consume you essentially without you knowing.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah.
Like, you see the black and white in the mainstream, people in the so-called truth community, they say, oh, it's Masonic, it's the Masons. That's all nonsense in my opinion. So duality, that's how I really see it. I think that's just a baseless term to use because the secret societies love the black and white, so it's just an assumption really when they see it like that. When they see it as that.
Yeah, with like the Masonic flooring and things like that.
Like a chessboard.
Yeah.
Would that mean that the creators of chess were Freemasons? No chance. Delusion of thinking.
No. Yeah. Just realised as well when people go out for Halloween, they're usually dressed in black and white. Like black and white is usually a good colour scheme for most people to wear. A lot of people wear like black outfits and then like a white mask. You see that with like the Scream mask and things like that. The film Scream. So there's obviously that duality there as well.
Yeah.
I like what I'm wearing now. My dressing gown. It's a Star Wars dressing gown. It's not really related to Harry Potter, but it's black and white.
Yeah. I've just got all black. You know, coming.
You just completely can't see.
Yeah, I come in evil. Come into, I don't know what the mask is, but yeah, man.
I should have dressed in white, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
That'd have been better.
Yeah. The duality within this podcast would have been good.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we can do it next time.
Yeah. Well, I was going to come as Donald Trump, but then I had to change my mind because I didn't have the proper clothing.
That was a shame.
Lost what I had.
That was a shame, you know. Could have seen a Donald Trump impression.
Big shame. Big shame. Could have seen a great impression of Donald Trump. Okay. It'd have been tremendous. Much better than Sleepy Joe Biden. You can't do an impression like me. Okay.
What impression? Hilarious. How do you do it, man? What's the secret?
I genuinely don't know. That just clicked one day. It's just like it'll click in my head. Like I'll be listening to a video, like a podcast of them, and I won't be able to get it for ages. And then one day it'll just click and I'll be able to do it. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. You just have to like listen to the tempo and the rhythm of how they speak, what sort of things they say. I think that's the biggest thing is like little things that they say every now and then. So like Trump says like okay a lot after he spoke. And if you have those things, it just sort of like solidifies the impression and makes it more distinguishable.
Yeah. Is it something that anyone can do?
Yeah, it's definitely a skill you can learn, 100%. I think I've got an advantage because I do acting, so it's like it's sort of the same thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
You can definitely learn it. It's not too hard.
Yeah. Well, I'd just like to ask you, have you got any good Halloween memories?
Good Halloween memories? That's a good question. I always loved going trick-or-treating as a kid. I used to go all the time, like around the block. I don't feel like it's a massive thing anymore. Like we didn't have any kids last night come around to the house to put candy or anything like that. And you never see them anymore. Like when I was younger, when I was like 11, it was out all the time, like every year, and everyone from your school was out. There was like hundreds of kids roaming the street. Never see that anymore. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think
no.
Like in our house, only I think maybe a family from previous years came to ask for sweets, but it doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid, I liked it, trick or treating. You get sweets, and you'd obviously try scare people, which,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
be honest, that didn't work. But hey, you gave it a go. Yeah,
yeah.
man, it was good times, good memories when I look back. Obviously, the amount of sweets that you probably had at that night, probably over 200 sweets.
That's a lot of sweets, man. Yeah, you
Yeah,
always
yeah,
used to compete. I always used to compete like the next day. You'd go back into school and you'd
yeah.
have to compete for whoever had the most sweets. And you'd be like, "Well, I got more than you. Well, I got more than you." I'd never eat them all anyway.
Neither would I.
I'd never get through them all. I miss those times. I miss those times when life was simpler and like the only thing you had to worry about was having more chocolate than someone else at school. Good
Yeah.
times.
But nowadays, what do we have to focus on? Obviously, our mission, our grind.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but you rarely see kids or anything out these days. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe they're hiding themselves from demons and stuff that are lurking on at night. But most likely just on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
kids have been ruined by technology. I've always wondered about the trick or treat, like where that stemmed from, and I couldn't really find anything on it. I think that's an American thing.
Yeah.
It's
God,
quite interesting because earlier I was listening to a podcast about diamonds. Am I saying
yeah,
that right? It's not demons,
yeah.
but
It's
diamonds.
DAE.
Yeah, so they're like creatures and things that obviously like encompasses creatures like Loch Ness monster, Bigfoot, and then you have a lot of sightings of like big cats and things in the UK. Creatures
Yeah,
that just seemingly appear and are out of place, like they shouldn't exist there, and then they disappear very fast, almost like a ghoulish presence.
yeah,
And we're talking about how they often they're either very nefarious and mischievous, or they're very helpful, like they'll help you out. And I was thinking that could relate to trick or treating in some way.
hmm
I don't know if it's along the same lines, but obviously I have like black cats and things and witches hanging about on Christmas. Not on Christmas, on Halloween.
Imagine that.
Sorry, wrong holiday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Only,
yeah, and then obviously it's like they can be nefarious or they can be helpful, and that relates to the trick or treat thing. Like, was it a thing of animals and weird creatures coming to your door and either playing a trick on you or being nefarious or being helpful and helping you with something? Potentially, it's a possible
yeah,
theory.
possibly. Like, Halloween, we have human demons running around getting sweets off parents. But hey, I don't know if anyone knows a different demon that runs this reality. Obviously, I presume you've heard of Archons.
Yeah,
Yeah, they obviously want to, keep souls trapped in the material realm. So
mm,
I wonder what's that all about? These beings that perhaps created this reality and keep us stuck here in this reincarnation loop.
yeah, potentially. And then those are the ones as well that could be like trick or treat. So it's like a soul trick, being tricked, or you're being treated. You're giving sort of incentives to stay in this reality, and that manifests as sweets and things for kids. Or you can be given a trick to get out of this reality potentially.
Yeah, I agree. These Archons, they're very tempting, like the devil
Yeah,
almost. Maybe
yeah.
they're the same entity.
I think they're all one and the same, aren't they?
Yeah,
It's all a big manifestation of Satan and what Satan can do.
a Ponzi
But saying
scheme.
Satan's a real person. Huh?
A Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, Ponzi scheme. There's just loads of them running about. Well, I'm a Death Eater, so I technically work for the devil. Just to let you know.
Oh, are you a devil worshipper?
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm not.
I was gonna say
I'm not. Don't cancel me.
that I don't know. If you got the Satanic Bible out, you never know. Man.
I have. I have actually. I've got a Satanic Bible. It's here. Diagon Alley. You see that?
What the Dragon Alley.
Oh, it's Diagon Alley. Look, it's Marauder's map from Harry Potter.
Oh,
So I can see where everyone's walking.
very nice.
Know where you're going.
I think maybe, after this pod, I might be out drinking some blood,
Yeah.
Maybe watch a bit of the Half-Blood Prince. I don't know, maybe
Ooh.
a bit of nostalgia.
Well, I killed Dumbledore in that film, and I am the Half-Blood Prince, which is quite funny as well.
Very interesting indeed.
Nice little synchronicity there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder how many people are casting spells and incantations on Halloween, and I wonder if that is actually a thing that occurs. Do the elites meet at Bohemian Grove and start worshipping Moloch on Halloween and sacrifice a lot of kids? Do people at CERN go to? I am quite sure CERN do have Halloween parties.
Do they?
And they're usually quite suspicious. Yeah, obviously CERN has the statue of Shiva, the god of destruction, in the center of the building, which is quite interesting. Are they doing ritual sacrifices on Halloween? Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
I can't
knows?
say.
Who are they trying to contact? Are they trying to contact the Archons to get out of this reality? Maybe
Oh,
that's what it is. And
maybe.
maybe that's why CERN has recently seen a rise in its popularity, because people are trying to escape the reality, trying to find a way out through particles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The God particle.
Yeah.
Is that mocking God in a way?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. I guess it all boils down to the question of who is God and what is God. As in, is he a good person? Is he a bad person?
Both, I think.
Is he both? Yeah.
Both.
Possibly. But I don't think the right way to live this life is to try and escape reality whilst we're still here. I think that's cheating. I think that's like going into a video game and just ignoring everything that's been told and just trying to get out of the map straight away, just running away. And then eventually you fall off the edge and you're falling forever. And you've lost grip of everything.
Definitely.
Possibly.
Yeah. Have you got anything else to talk about, or do you want to wrap
Not really, no. Not really.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for watching. Quite a short
Yeah.
one, but yeah, man, I thought, we're going to be off doing our Halloween gestures, you could say, after this episode. So it couldn't be a long one, though. We're going out doing some trick-or-treating with the lads. I know it's the first, but look, sometimes, that on the day of Halloween I was busy, so maybe today I can do some trick-or-treating with some guys and get some sweets off people.
Are you actually doing it? You actually going out trick-or-treating?
No.
All right. Gonna say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we shall.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.